Well, hi, this is Jerry, and this is the episode that I've been looking forward to. We are finishing up the project. You can see this is where I left you at last time. We had finished up the island. We had all the drawers and everything installed. We've really looked forward to this. Joan and I went to Warner Robins, Georgia, which is about a half an hour from where we live. To a location called Ross and Son. We had a little bit of difficulty trying to find someone who would build us a countertop island and a solid surface just because the project was so small. It took us 4 or 5 locations before we could find someone that would do it. I'm pleased to say that it literally took a week and a day for Ross and Son to get our countertop. It's outside. I can't wait to bring it in. We're going to do some preparation work here in just a second. But it looks fantastic. They did an absolutely great job at a very reasonable price. The problem being, and if you start preparing for something like this, the problem being is the project's small. I mean, they're doing full kitchens, multiple bathrooms. They had just done a big outside kitchen yesterday. So, it's trying to fit within their schedule and get the work done. But again, they were super. They did it at a reasonable price. They did an absolutely spectacular job. And we're so pleased with it. It's going to look great. And I'll show you close-ups of it once we start doing the install here in just a little bit. So here's what we've got left to do. Going to have to do some custom work down here along the side of the refrigerator. I think I showed that to you in the last video. And we do have a little bit of scrap lumber left over, which has this finish on it. We are very fortunate to have a piece just big enough to be able to finish this off. The downside, there's a piece of bullnose that's, I think it was 103 inches long, that's going to go from past the refrigerator all the way across. I could not piece that out and it looked good. So I'm going to have to make a piece of custom bullnose for that. So that means cutting it down, routing an edge on it and those types of things. A little bit of carpentry work here. Not a big deal. Just it takes a little time, maybe a half an hour to do that. Still think we're going to be on the 20-hour mark. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to go ahead. The first thing I'm going to do is cut the plumbing down. I've already measured, and we'll see what that's going to take, and then we're off and running. As we talked about earlier, I'm going to have to make a little cut here. You'll see this is where the old sink went. I'm going to have to lower it down just a little bit. So I'm just going to make a little small cut right here. I'm going to have to take a section out. I don't know exactly how much. I'm going to use this little thing here. It's like a finish saw. And make this cut. It's going to be pretty simple. I apologize. I know my arm's in the way. There's no good way to do this. There we go. That's not too bad. Now I will share this with you too. So what I'll end up having to do, if you can see this on the camera, is probably take about that much out of it. It's not a big deal. I'll stick that rag in there because the odor coming out of the gray tank is odoriferous. All right. Now we can put the sink in. See, that wasn't bad, was it? So what I've done here, I've pre-measured again just to make double sure that the countertop manufacturer actually met my measurements, and they did. They were perfect on it. And I did a little diagram of this just to make sure that both of us were going to be in sync. No joke intended there. So I've measured, everything looks good. What I've got to do now is put me a bead. I'm going to put me a bead of silicone here. And really that's all that's going to hold this thing in. It's not going to take much. And once I put that silicone in, set it down overnight, this thing will be rock solid. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of. It won't take but a minute. There's a dozen brands of this clear silicone bathroom and tile stuff. I'm using, I'm just a fan of the Gorilla. It's never failed me. So I like using what I know is going to work, and I think this will work just fine. Now once I start placing this on here, I've got a cure time I've got to be concerned about, and I'm going to have to kind of hit it and get it. So here we go. Because this will set up pretty quick, and I don't want it, you know, not sticking. We want this thing to stick like crazy, because the last thing I want to have happen is drop this thing in the middle of the road somewhere. I will, some point in time, I'll have to share with you. Matter of fact, I got a blog on this thing. I'll tell you what, I'll put it up here in the show notes. It's not a video, it's a blog. When Joan and I did a 3,500 mile trip to from middle Georgia all the way through Alabama and down along Louisiana, up through Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee. We had a blast. But when we hit that road from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, to New Iberia, it about shook us to death. You got to read that blog. It's crazy. That's before I started doing videos. Okay. I have no time to play. Oh, I missed something. I need to put just a few drops right here. Just to kind of give me that seal. Put a little bit more right in here. It's probably going to run off a little bit, but that's okay. All right, here we go. 100 pounds of countertop. Get out of my way. Woohoo! Really, handling this with kid gloves. I do not want to scratch it. At all. And here we go. Look. Oh my gosh. It fit. First time, first try. Is that something? Golly, can you see that? Is that gorgeous? I'll do some close-ups here in a little bit. Wow, that is pretty. Okay. All right. All right, let me zoom in on the camera on this so you can see it. It looks fantastic. Here we go. Look at this. Is this fantastic or what? Look at that. Is that great? I'm going to do a kind of a walk around. And you can see how it complements that's over there? I couldn't match it 100%, but we're darn close. And I think it offers an awesome contrast. Look at that. Let me just step back. Is that fantastic? Look at that. It's awesome. This is what you're going to really love. All right, fellow campers, look how deep that bowl is. 10 inches. And then we'll have the new sink that'll come up here. So we are just literally an hour or so from getting this done. Look at that. I am so happy. That is awesome. That's awesome. Look at that. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. We've made a lot of progress. This is it. I'm going to finish up everything today. We had to give 24 hours for the countertop here to finish drying, to let all that silicone finish drying under it. And you can see it is on there. I think this is going to be interstate proof. We hope so. Here's what we got to do to finish today. I want to put the faucet back in, the nice kitchen gooseneck faucet. I've got, oh, my favorite, plumbing. Oh my goodness. I've got plumbing to do. I've got aside from hooking up the water, which no modifications there, yay. I am going to have to make some modifications for the drain. Simple, I've already looked at it. I'm going to have to do a little trimming, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Then we have just a few things to do. Put the end moldings on the corners. One here, one there. On the face here, I've got a little strip that I've got to put. Then just to set all my nails and put some put some wood putty or something like that in there. I'm thinking maybe a couple hours, 2-3 hours at the most. Oh yeah, I forgot. I got to put the new bull nose. I made me some nice bull nose to go up underneath the refrigerator, and I'll show you putting that on there. So I'm thinking roughly 2-3 hours to get this finished. I'll try to edit it down to maybe 10 or 15 more minutes for the episode, and then that'll be it. So let's get busy doing some plumbing and get this thing wrapped up, okay? This thing is super tight here. Super, super, super tight. And I hope I can thread these things in there. Oh boy, is that thing tight. I'm not sure, but I may have to take that little piece off of there. Go on. Come on, you can do it. Looky, looky, looky. Looky, looky, looky. Got my washer on there? I do. Woo! Didn't want to have to pull that back out. I am so tempted to turn this around for left-handed, but Joan will never forgive me. Oh, that would be hilarious. But I would never hear the end of that one. Okay, let's crawl up under here. That would be funny. At least for a minute. All right, down we go. Okay, let's see what we can do here. First thing we're going to have to do is put this nut back on. That shouldn't take too much effort here. Now then, the next thing we're going to do is connect the sprayer that's all that does. Now let's connect the hoses. Okay, let's get our wrenches here. I'm going to start with the hot water. And then what I'll do is once I get all this other plumbing back up, if you looked at one of the earlier videos, I had to pop some tie wraps here. And I'll do all that. Make sure that they're good and dressed up and looking super nice. I know I'm blocking the camera, I apologize. Just no easy way to do this. Okay, we'll pressure test that in a little bit. Let's do the blue, which is the cold. Okay. Okay. And I'll tie those back up in just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put our weight on here. This is going to be the weight that kind of holds the faucet down. There we go. That will work like so. Perfect. All right, it might be a little hard to get all this on video, but I'll do my best. I'm going to be putting in everything that's going to be here now for the sink, all the drains. I went ahead and I mounted that. I did that earlier. It's no big deal. The other thing that I'll share with you is be sure and dry fit everything. So, before you get in here and you start making things, just kind of dry fit, make your cuts. The interesting thing, before, if you remember, I had dual sinks and dual outlets. I had what they call a P-trap here. That's this thing. I had this P-trap here, and over here I had a straight shot bend going down. We always have had an odor coming out of the sink from the gray tank. Now, you can try to keep your gray tank clean, and I do a lot of things to try to help it out. But from time to time, we would have a bit of an odor that would come up from the sink. We've had this thing for over 3 years now. I've never paid any attention that we didn't have a P-trap on the left-hand side. Amazing. Amazing. I don't know why a manufacturer would do that. So I did have to go buy this piece. This is this, and then a couple where I had to cut this to put the sink in. $10. So that's not bad. And if you've never done plumbing before, it's really simple. It's just take your time, dry fit, think it through, and hand tighten. Never put a wrench to this stuff. Always hand tighten. And now get it good and tight, don't get me wrong. And before I put all this together, now if you'll notice, this has got a little pressure fitting right here. And I am just going to kind of finger tighten it. I'm going to leave it loose. So don't get too, if you haven't seen plumbing before, don't get too excited that I'm not doing this right. So I'm going to leave that just a little wiggly. Now then, this is the part that I had to cut. And I had to go buy this little 99-cent fitting here to put on there. So I'm using an all-purpose cement, and then you use a primer. And that primer just ensures, there's absolutely no glue to this, but this primer ensures that you've got a clean surface and to work with. So I'm going to put some of this primer on here. Like I said, it has no adhesion quality. So we've got that. You don't have to let it dry or anything like that. Be careful with this. This will stain, so don't get it on your floor. And then you don't have to shake this. Boy, they put that top on tight. Now, once I start this, your setup time is really short. So I am going to have to hit it and get it. So I'm going to take this and this is, like I said, an all-purpose PVC cement. I'm going to put a little bit there. We'll put some inside this fitting. Like I said, you got to hit it and get it now. I don't have time to play. If the phone rings, if somebody's yelling bloody murder out there, you got to keep on going. So it's kind of like you got a point of no return, and I just reached it. All right, and this stuff is nasty. So again, be careful if you get it on your hands what you touch afterwards, because it does leave a mess. Okay, I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to put that fitting on like so. You give it a light twist. You got to remember that twist. And then I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to stick him on here like so. And I'm going to give him a light twist. All right, perfect. Now then, I'm going to line these guys up. Looks like I can go down just a wee bit more to line up. Pull him out. This is actually going to be so much better. You want him kind of straight. And that, literally, this cement's going to set up in minutes. I'm going to start tightening everything down now. Again, remember, finger tight. You know, you want to, as we say here in the South, you want to get down on it. I think there's a song about that too. All right. I know my elbow's in the way, I'm sorry. Okay, good and tight. This guy up here is good and tight. This guy here. Remember, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. How about that? There's something for everyone. There we go. Yay! Look at that, guys. That's awesome, huh? Boom. Boom tight. Boom tight. There we go. Plumbing. Well, I'm going to tie wrap that up. Plumbing is done, though, essentially. Okay, that didn't take long. Water faucet's in. Looks good. Looks good. All the plumbing's down. Everything is working as it should. Yay. Looks good. And the only thing that we've got left to do now is just a little bit of trim work along the edges and put the bull nose in. We're going to call this, and then a little bit of touch up, some nail touch up and things like that, but that won't be a big deal. So let's go ahead and get started on that. That won't take too long. There's your corners. It is done. Look at that. I'll do a close-up for you in just a second. Just to kind of give you an update, we estimated 20 hours. You ready for this? It took me 21 hours, not including my trip to the store or the trip to Warner Robins, which is about 30 minutes from here, to pick up the counter. But actual work time inside the fifth wheel was 21 hours. How about that? And it turned out fantastic, fantastic. Recap. So here you go. This is from episode 1. This shows you how this original cabinet was L-shaped. And if you look at how the workflow was on how we had to be able to get access to the cabinets, it was just pure misery. I mean, I just hated the way it worked, and Joan hated the way it worked. But here we are now. We've got the new countertop. I'll give you a close-up of that in just a second. The workflow, if you see, is going to be greatly improved, that we can wash and prepare. We can cook. And it's just absolutely fantastic with the drawers and the access to the cabinets. So easy now that this L is out of the way. And I've got to tell you, I am just absolutely thrilled, absolutely thrilled. Let me give you a close-up of the work. I think this is where it's going to really get interesting. So here it is. There is the close-up. If you remember, to the left of the island is where the L is at, or was. And then inside, when that slide came in, that's where we moved the cabinet drawers and that one cabinet door that was in the L, and we put it inside that workspace. And again, as you work, you can just gain access easily to the cabinets. But look at this countertop. We couldn't get something that matched exactly, but isn't that fantastic? Now, okay, fellow RVers who haven't done this yet, look at this sink. It is massive. I'm going to stick my arm down in it, and you see it comes up a good 10 inches plus. Big sink, big faucet that we salvaged, and it just turned out great. And then when you look, I'll spin around here. I knew I'm moving really fast. If you remember, from that strip to the left of the plug was where that ugly angle went. And it went to about midway of this cabinet. And we took that door out, and I'll try not to move too fast here. And we moved that door here. And double the space of it. Well, not quite double the space, probably added another third. No changes inside here. Everything still works the same. You know, the trash can pulls out, all those types of things, place to put our cleaning supplies, all that remains the same. And then here is where we move the drawer. Oh, I got to show you this as well. So if you remember, if you look at one of the other clips in the episode, there was that big gap that was down there, and I made a custom bull nose that runs from the refrigerator all the way so I didn't have to piece it out. And just one solid piece of bull nose. But I'm going to pan back just one more time and let you see this beauty. Isn't that something? Who would have thought that this would turn out like that? Just absolutely amazing. I am so tickled, and I can't wait for... Joan hasn't seen the final product yet. She is just going to absolutely be stunned. She's out running some errands. When she gets back, I'll bring her in. I think she's going to get a kick out of this. So there you have it, the camper kitchen remodel, light remodel, but it was a bit of a task. And new countertops, new sinks, new workflow. Just we're just so happy. So as always, even with our remodeled kitchen, especially with our remodeled kitchen, I really love RV life.